Hello and welcome to It's Not So Lonely at the Top podcast. This is a podcast for business leaders and business owners just like you. We're going to be sharing top tips on how to develop yourself personally and professionally. I'm going to be sharing updated podcasts on a regular basis, so please do make sure you subscribe, and I really hope you enjoy today's podcast. Chris Welch is Managing Director of Welch Group, a fourth generation family haulier, proving that heritage and innovation aren't opposites. The business runs on a simple idea, making this part of the world as good as it can be. That means investing in people before it's required, decarbonising before it's easy, and contributing to the communities around our depots because it's the right thing to do. From commissioning the UK's first HGV accessible supercharger to running electric HGVs commercially for over 4 years, including supporting big names like British Antarctic Surveys, Welch Group is proof that family SMEs can lead where others follow. Chris is a recognised national voice on fleet electrification and practical net zero transition, working with government, industry bodies and major innovation programmes to help the wider sector find a route forward that actually works. So I feel like, ooh, Chris, how you doing, Chris? How do you feel hearing that back? Does it feel like, what does that feel like?
I don't know. You can't put it into words sometimes. It's interesting because every time you do something like this, or every time you get introduced on stage, every year, there's something else in your arsenal. There's something else added to that list, and you feel accomplished, and it's great to hear because it's recognition, and we all go after that recognition at the end of the day. That's why we do it, be it parents or staff or peers. Mm-hmm. But no, and I just laugh because that long list of things you said 5 years ago, I just ran a haulage company, and that is what's happened in the last 5 years, and it's been a hell of a journey.
Yeah, it has been, and I've sort of watched the development, and you just feel like you've made sure that you're sort of at the forefront of forward thinking and development and driving things forward, which is something I really admire, mate. So
it's momentum, isn't it? A lot of it is momentum and pace, especially with the topics that we're going to be talking about: decarbonisation, electrification, innovation, all the shuns. It's maintaining that pace in any business, isn't it? Once you get on that track, unless you are just going to stop it, you've got to maintain it. You've got to keep your head in the game. You've got to keep focusing on it because it becomes integral to your business. Sure.
And there's never really a better time to frame this than the present, where fuel prices are just extraordinary. Like, to give the audience some context, I suppose, on, you know, what's the cost increase been to you? Like, obviously people at the pump will have seen an increase, but what per litre are you looking at?
The pumps always lag.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of profiteering in there, as the newspapers will allude to. But no, so if we go back to March, when this all kicked off, end of March, we bulk buy, spot hire, put in our tanks in our depots. Yeah. We were paying about 105 per litre, £1.05.
And that's net. That's net, right? So people who are everyone will know net anyway, because they're all business people, so that's fine. Yeah.
We spiked, and then it just went crazy, as we know. All based upon tweets at the end of the day, isn't it? It's funny, isn't it? Now,
yeah, I know,
a lot of it. But no, we spiked. We peaked. At probably 170 well into March, and then we're still sitting now at anywhere between 150 and 60, 150, 160. And it's how you react to that, because fuel, for context, is 30% of our cost base. So 30% of what I have to spend every month, every year, is that diesel stuff.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of electric, more and more electric, as we'll come on to, but it's that turbulence. Like, one day it was literally it gets to the point where you have to react. You have to know. You need that information, you need that data. So you're ringing fuel providers every day, twice a day, 3 times a day, and within a 24-hour period, it was going from 140 to 165 down to 150, and I've got to buy 32,000 litres of the stuff at a time. Yeah, and that's a big. It's a cash flow implication, let alone anything else to the customers and what you're doing.
Challenge, huge challenge.
And that's just one of the many variables and dials you've got to tweak running a haulage operation.
Bloody Trump. Oh, we try not to get too political on here. Cool. So as I alluded to, you run Welch Group, which is what now? So founded in 1934. I don't know how I remember that number, but I do because I remember.
It's on all my polo shirts.
Yeah, 90th anniversary recently. You're now 92 years in, and you're the fourth generation. So I said earlier that you've said heritage and innovation aren't opposites. What do you have to protect? Because there's an element of pressure of looking after the legacy. But then there's also about challenging the norm to make sure that you keep moving forward.
The very snappy way to answer that is the heritage and the legacy is the why, but it's not the how.
Sure.
Innovation is the how, and that's how you separate those two things. And it's a very, very fine line to tread, because your customers, and we've got customers going back decades, staff, we've got long servers that are my oldest one, I think, my longest serving one, apart from my old man, I think it's 36 years now. And we've got instances where we have multi-generational that aren't our family working for the business.
Sure.
So there's a fine balance, because your dad and the previous generations will say this, and this is how we do it, and this is why we've done it, and that's been their tenures. Dad was at the top for 30 years, still at the top to a certain extent. Sure. But things have to change, and I imagine you've heard it from a lot of your guests and a lot of your peer group, where the worst thing in the world to hear as a manager is someone saying that's how we've always done it.
Yeah, sure.
Like it sends shivers down my spine, and my staff know that sends shivers down my spine.
Sure. Because
of how we've now aligned innovation with our business.
Because you've been quite disruptive, essentially, to an extent, in obviously an appropriate way. I often look at, so I guess I'm fortunate because I founded my own business, so I didn't really have anyone to answer to, I suppose. But like, have you watched Succession? Do you know what I'm talking about with Succession? And
I don't have any helicopters though.
Is there any reality? With Succession?
Definitely, because definitely there is, isn't it? It's family dynamics, and even if you didn't all run a business, it's the same layering of dynamics and arguments and conversation, isn't it? I mean, it's strange in our family, and because when you're multi-generational, different generations take different stance based upon past history and outcome. Always looking at what you've done, but keeping an eye mainly on what's going forward. So, for a prime example being, my great granddad started it. My granddad, as soon as he could drive, before he could drive, because it was a bit looser those days, wasn't it? Let's be honest. He worked in the business. Then it came to the third generation of my dad and my uncle, who were the core two. Uncle, mechanic of the family, did his O-levels straight out of college, I suppose you'd term it, from back then, into the workshops, and did his tenure. He did 30 years on the nose, and retired bang on 60.
Nice.
That's wrong. 45 years. Dad, who's a chartered accountant by trade, went off to become a chartered management accountant. Worked for local business, Spices, back over our way in Cambridgeshire. We are in Cambridgeshire. And joined the business late 20s, early 30s, and then took that same stance with his children, with me and my siblings. And it's an interesting one. I'm now caught in the middle, because I've seen, and it was never, again, within that context, I would go around Grandad's for a Sunday roast, as we always did, because we're a big roast family. And you would never hear the word work mentioned in front of the rest of the family or at the dining table. They might go in the kitchen to talk about it or go outside, but it was never a thing. I was never told growing up that I could or would go and run the business, or it was required of me.
Yeah. So there wasn't, you never felt the expectation.
No.
Yeah.
But it was always there. And it's always quite a nice aspirational thing, and a thing that, it's security. Like, if I could go and try anything under the sun and have a crack at it, and probably, as long as I'm reasonably competent and well educated, I suppose is a term, then I could fail at that and try and wiggle my way into the family business. But over time, which we'll talk about, it became my aspiration to work for the business. And I didn't join till I was 30, having worked for logistical firms like DHL and all the rest, to get as much experience as I could and be able to have my old man come up to me and go, "Do you want a job?"
Yeah, you're ready. Yeah. No, fair enough. So the big news was, and you're now, I think you mentioned before that we recorded, you're now at 6. So you put an electric HGV on the road as a commercial vehicle, and it not a vanity project. What did the decision teach you about leadership that you couldn't have learned from like meetings, boardrooms, industry reports? The practicality of just putting that on the road and what you learned.
From a leadership point of view, and it's holistic, it was. It's amazing what one single asset or one single thing can do to change the whole culture and leadership and outlook of your business.
Sure.
It was the turning point. That decision for us to buy that 19-ton electric rigid and the associated charger took a lot of time, a lot of management and leadership time discussing it, how we would deploy it, why we were doing it, how we were going to do it, and from a leadership point of view, and we'll come on to this a bit later, I think, it was the cornerstone from where I've now hung my hat on how I run the business.
Sure.
Electrification turned over the number of years, like we said, into innovation, and it's first mover. And with you and I likewise run our own businesses and have been through that whole journey, and you understand the first mover advantage. You understand knowing things. Again, when I'm talking to certain peers, I talk about video games growing up. We were the video game era. And if you enjoyed strategic video games like, I don't know, Red Alert, Command & Conquer, or Age of Empires, all those kind of games, the strategy games, what you do at the beginning of a campaign, I'm a big geek, is you plough as much as you can afford into research and development, because that pays dividends later on. And that comes into that balance about a bit about being leadership, a bit about how you run a business and what your aspiration for that business is. We're multi-generational. I'm not in it to build it to sell it. I'm in it to build it, benefit from it, and then pass it on. So I can, in my head, rationale the point of view that we will invest heavily now and I will sacrifice my bottom line for that growth, that innovation, that learning. And it's been 10 years. I've been in the business 12 years, and we've been on the electrification journey for 5 already. And we've only got 6 lorries. It's a big journey. So from a leadership point of view, it's how I talk on one hand about pace. On the other hand, it's sustainable growth.
Sure.
And how do you bring people along on that journey from a leadership point of view? How when you're saying you're going to buy an electric vehicle and it's who we are and what we're becoming, and then you run 70 odd HGVs and only 3 of them currently are electric, and 3 will be electric in the next 2 months. 3 more will be electric in the next 2 months. I learned that there's a lot of communication leading in leadership. There's a lot of strategy and making a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life, and people that have different priorities and different attitudes towards things, buying into your vision of what your business is, like the leadership piece. And senior leadership are key in this, and we'll talk about my Knights of the Round Table later, as I term them. But there's different horses for courses, isn't there? How do you talk to them? How do you talk to your staff? How again, like you said, how do you lead them? And I've learned that, as a lot of people already know, it's not one size fits all. Sure. They're trying to balance it.
But you had a vision and you started moving, and 5 years now. So if someone's just embarking on their journey, you've got 5 years of bloody noses and pain and stress and whatever it may be in advancement of the general public or the general competition. So it's interesting actually to hear that you've been on the journey for such a long time. So actually it is slow innovation. It's steady growth. It's, this isn't, an overnight thing, which I think a lot of people will see at some point. You're going to, you're going to have quite a large fleet of electric vehicles, I would think. And people are going to go, oh, Welch is overnight. And it'll be like, nah, mate.
No, exactly. No.
Mate.
And we're going to, like I say, that lorry at the end of that process, that supply chain, that that facilitation of electrification is the last little bit. And it's the same in any business, in any scenario, isn't it? Like we've been looking at infrastructure, we've been looking at driver training, we've been looking at how our planners plan electric vehicles with the payload penalty and the range penalty, and my workshops, my truck centres, how can we repair them? Are we going to repair them ourselves? And like I say, at the end of it, you go, and now we can buy an electric lorry, and then we can scale.
Yeah,
and it's
a process.
It's something.
You talked about the gap between ambition and reality, coming down to who's willing to absorb the uncertainty first. How do you know when going first is courageous and when it's just expensive impatience?
Part of it comes back to that opening statement and that long paragraph of what we've been up to, really. Going back a little bit to the electrification story, I mean, we did that first electric lorry because we thought it was the right thing to do. Three reasons, actually. The first one is it's legislated. For those who don't know, in the world of haulage and running any vehicle now, at the point of 2040, you can no longer buy any combustion engine vehicle in any size anywhere in the UK and Europe. And then we'll see how the rest of the world carries on, catches up. That started now. We've seen it in cars and we've seen it in vans, and there's all sorts of legislation out there. But 2035 is the big mark for operators. For 26 tonne and below, you can no longer buy an electric. Sorry, you can no longer buy a combustion version of that vehicle. Mm-hmm. So, point one, it's happening.
Yeah.
And you can argue, and people can argue and put their head in the stand about, the government might move it and the percentages might change. But we've seen it in all of politics in the day. Whilst they will reverse some things, they won't reverse it completely. No one ever reverses anything 100%. So that's happening. So point one is it's legislated. Point two, we're in Cambridge, our head office is in Cambridge. If I was going to sell into a new market, and there's a lot of tech, a lot of pharma, it's doing that SWOT analysis. It's looking at your economics around you. If we were going to get into these tech firms and pharma firms that don't ship and manufacture massive amounts, but they do a lot of supply chain, electric vehicles is their cup of tea, and we're finding that already. And Cambridge as a whole. Yeah, like we are in one of the key places in the UK. So again, strategic, isn't it? And then there's us. There's coming back to the multi-generational piece. We're lucky enough to own our depots through multiple generations, and I had the infrastructure and the finances, I suppose, to a certain extent, to be able to do it. So then moving on to your question, what we found after that first lorry is, and when I decided that it was not a phase, not a fad, not a knee-jerk reaction, is we looked. One of my seniors managers says that the fact that we stopped for a minute and looked around to see what everyone else was doing, because we deemed this being the right thing. We didn't, when we started out, we didn't think it was anything different to how anyone else should be doing things, looking forward and running a haulage operation. And we turned around and everyone was looking at us. And that was that point where it goes from realization that it is actually a critical business decision, and it isn't a fad, and it isn't a knee-jerk reaction. It wasn't a passing trend, shall we say. It was actually real. And then we decided to make it our own, I suppose.
Have you had any criticism from the industry? Did you have any criticism or challenge?
No, criticism, nothing from the industry. We've had a few naysayers that have latched onto us because we're doing what we're doing, and some people think we're not doing it the right way because they have their own opinions on decarbonisation, whether it's a bit of hydrogen in there, whether it's electric. Like, okay, you go back 5 years and it was purely hydrogen, electric, Betamax, VHS. Yeah. What is it going to be? And we backed a horse. We jumped right in, as we'll talk about later. And then you get the critics from the other side of the pond going, well, you're doing it wrong, aren't you? Because we think it's going to be this. And luckily, it looks like we're going the right way. Yeah. Peers love it. And again, I'm sitting here because we're age-old friends, mate. But I get asked to talk about it a lot because our peers love it. Again, human nature. If someone's doing it and going first, you're going to watch them, and you want to take. They can take the risk, and we've all done it in different parts of our business with different systems. Whether it's an IT system that you don't want to be the first person to implement it, or the first person to buy an electric lorry, or the first person to try a new type of forklift. I don't know, related to my industry. People will quite happily watch and learn and not take the pain. So our peers love it, our industry love it, and it's got us to that point again. Coming back to the point where it wasn't a fad. I've now sit in the Department of Transport advising them on decarbonisation, which is ridiculous because I still deem myself. I'm 40. I'm middle aged, I suppose, but everyone thinks they're not middle aged or old or even an adult. And you're sitting
We've only
there.
just left school, mate.
Exactly. I sit there with the head of all the UK ports and the person that looks after rail and Richard Smith from the RHA and Logistics UK and all those big boys and girls. And I'm like, what on earth am I doing here?
Yeah.
And it's a realisation that I am the only operator, one of the only operators in the room. I'm the only SME operator in the room. I'm the only person, when you look at the whole 70,000 O licences in the UK, I now represent 75% of them. Because most operators operate 50 vehicles. I'm actually in the top 15% of all operators operating more than 50 vehicles in my fleet. Most are 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 10.
Yes.
And they're the ones that need the help and the vision and the support. And that comes into a bit of the family business, multiple different associations that we work with. The Transport Association would be the best example. Like we're the longest serving member at 70 years. My dad knows the dads. I know the sons and daughters. My granddads used to know the granddads, great granddads. And you go to these events and it's all multi-generational. It's all collaborative. It's all for one for all kind of scenario. And you do it for them. You do it for your staff, and you do it for them. And you do it for the local community.
Yeah, I love that.
And a little bit for yourself.
Yeah, of course. A little bit for yourself. A little bit for yourself. Love that, mate. I love that. And I don't know where the question went because it went out of my head, but I'm sure it will come back. So, as a fourth generation leader, there's a weight of stewardship and not being trapped by the tradition. So, there's an element of needing to sort of honour the past. I know that you've got some heritage vehicles in. Have you started a Welsh museum yet?
Oh, it broke ground a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to say. I thought,
a heritage centre.
I thought you were going to do a heritage centre, which I love, by the way. So, tell me a bit about how what the next phase looks like for you, and how you sort of deal with that pressure.
When I was given the full reins. So I went back to the floor for a few years, and I can drive most things apart from a motorcycle. I'm the only person in my family that can't drive a motorcycle, but I can drive everything else. Yeah. Went back to the floor, spent 8 years working for the business, like not being funny anyone should do if they're going to eventually become an MD. The whole premise of knowing what you're asking people to do and not being funny, hopefully being able to do it better than most people. Can't do everything better than most people, but I gave it a good shot.
Sure.
Once I'd done that, and once I became MD a couple of years ago, from a leadership point of view, it's like, right, the heritage is there, the old values are there, and the reason we're doing it is there. But it's like you see with a lot of big corps, when a new CEO comes in, you've got to make a bit of a splash. You've got to say, right, I'm here. I know you all know me, but things are going to change, because unless you run a really, really, really successful business, I'm in haulage, so that's not possible. Then you're going to change things because you've got to keep evolving. So what we actually did from that point of view, what I did is I said, right, we're going to freshen. To begin with, we're going to freshen up. We're going to rebrand. I actually have 6 different businesses at that point, all around supply chain and logistics, but a bit fragmented, and a couple of 2 or 3 depots that do exactly the same things, but are seen as cost centres in locations as opposed to part of transport. So let's re-envision this. Let's bring it all together. We're talking about family. We're talking about values. We're talking about all for one and one for all again. let's start that in practice. So to begin with, everyone likes it visually. You've got to be able to see it, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it's rebrand, it's new logos, it's new taglines, it's the new brochure. You spent, like say, it was the first time I did anything like that, and dropping thousands of pounds on a glossy brochure that you're going to last you about a year is horrific in my vision, but it pays dividends. You forget, actually, like from a leadership and from a strategic point of view, you put something that looks good in front of someone, it's half the battle.
Yeah, 100%. You got to look the real deal, haven't you?
Exactly.
Perception's reality.
Look at this beautiful room.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on from kicking football down a cul-de-sac when we were 12.
Pretty much.
So that's the first step. Make it fresh, make it real. And I did a lot of stuff when I was going through. Like,
it was a great rebrand, by the way. I think the brand looks great.
And you find, and it's also the physical stuff. Like you would walk into our head office at Cambridge, and when I started, we only just built it. We just relocated there, built it afresh, brand new. And when I first started working there about 5 years in, you would walk in through the front reception area, lovely glass, beautiful building, and it looks into a little, what was supposed to be a meeting room, and it was a dumping ground. And there was there's an old desk in there, chair. It was the room that also got they did the tachograph analysis for the driver's hours. So there's paper everywhere, and there's
I know
a
which room
dumping
you
corner.
mean.
Yeah, and you're like, this is the first thing that people see when they walk into the business. And also, you haven't got a space to go and talk to staff.
Yeah,
I say privately, it's all glass, but out of the way.
Yeah.
Start banging paint on walls, branded paint, the right colour blue.
Yeah.
Show people that you want to take respect, and you have respect, and you have love for the place that you work. So rebrand it, make it look nice, go on that journey, and then came the important part, and that was the new values. The new, and engaging with the staff, and mainly senior management team, because they should be, it's a democracy, they should be the voice of the people, if we refer to it like that. So senior managers, what do we stand for? Some of you have been here 25 years. Some of you I employed and have been here too.
Yeah.
Some of you know me. Some of you know most of it from my old man and my uncle and a bit of my granddad. What does this company stand for? Because I can stand here and tell you what I think, but it doesn't matter what I think to a certain degree. And that's another thing I always come back to with my senior management team. I'd say, and now we're on the journey, and they know the values, and they know the tagline and bits and pieces like that. They know what we're doing, where we're going, where we're heading. My stance now is, I shouldn't be the one sitting here having all the good ideas, because to a certain extent, I sit in my ivory tower. And we've got four sites and 170 people, and a lot of different things going on. And how on earth am I supposed to know if that system doing that one little job is running efficiently?
Sure.
And it's that leadership and management piece, isn't it? But then the way I do manage that, as we've said, is through innovation. So we're constantly reviewing every system, every process, be it integrating the good old word AI into it. And it's an amazing, the journey. It's amazing, and again, related to logistics or any business from a volume point of view, you have a preconceived perception of how much work or volume your business can handle. And you'll win something and you'll do it, and it becomes the norm. Yeah. Everyone goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. We had one new warehousing customer that inbounds 30 containers a week.
Wow.
Luckily they're palletized, so it's not a complete D stuff.
Yeah.
But we were used to handling maybe a container a week.
Yeah.
And the yard staff and the office staff and the warehouse team were like, how on earth are we going to do this? How are we going to marshal it in the yard? How are we going to offload it? How are we going to put it on the racks? And it was a big hoo-ha. 2 weeks in to doing it, this works, isn't it? We resourced it correctly and we reviewed it properly, but it's like, that's how it works. And that goes through everything else. Luckily this journey, this transition is making us grow. And we'll come on to that. And now it's actually the norm to always nearly be onboarding a new tier 2 or tier 1 customer. Sure. Whereas normally I had 6 years where it took me 6 years to win one new customer of that. We're talking multi-million pound. Yeah. And then nothing, because it's hard to win work. It's hard to get business. Yeah, it is, yeah. And that was also the realization of why we were doing what we were doing, because you need something to hang your hat on. You need a niche. You need to differentiate, don't you?
Absolutely.
And your staff need to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you reviewed the values. It's a big part of some of the things I talk about. Interestingly, I've literally just been chatting to Brian, and we're talking about his values as well. How do you make sure? So you did the rebrand, you did the values. What steps did you take to sort of roll those values out to the team? Because you kind of need your senior leadership team.
Yep.
Whilst they've had input, they also need to be ambassadors for them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So talk us a bit through that process.
So values-wise, and it's where we started. How do we match heritage with innovation? Rightfully so. One of our values is heritage. One of our values is innovation.
Sure.
One of our values is sustainable growth.
Okay.
I have a great marketing team that I engage with, and there's some great guys within my senior management team that have just creative flair. They understand, they get it. You find people, especially senior management, that are good at different things. You've got an operator, you've got some great operators, you've got some great creative people, and it's that mix, that round table. How did we roll out those values?
Hi, my name's Pete, and I want to thank you for tuning into today's podcast. I'm a coach, speaker, and author. And if you want to take your personal development that bit further, did you know that I offer a mastermind program as well as one-to-one coaching? If you're interested, please do reach out on peterushmer.com.
We ensured that those values harmonized with this whole journey that we're talking about. So it wasn't just 5 values like we are nice to staff, we look after the local community, we provide a nice place to work. You can go into ChatGPT and pick those up in 5 minutes.
Sure.
The values that we picked, those ones that I mentioned, align with that direction of travel. They align with the new
and they're
culture.
unique to you.
They're unique to us.
Yep.
And those values actually are packaged up, wrapped up in ESG, in environmental and social governance, in that, because that is who you are as a business, regardless of what you do.
Yeah, sure.
It's all about that, especially from a big, dirty diesel operator running lots of lots of diesel dirty lorries.
35,000 litres a time.
Exactly. So it comes into that journey. It comes into putting it all together. I ensured that those values made complete and utter sense, and then you just start drip feeding them.
Sure.
We didn't go right with 5 new values. Here we go, bit of paper. I'm going to draw them on a wall.
Yeah.
Done. No, you take them one at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
And you relate to how they work. So we did innovation first. So that's a lie. We did sustainability value first because we were living it.
Yeah.
One of our new values is sustainability, and it wasn't actually like we just ticked it off. We didn't actually have to communicate it because people knew 5 years later what the journey we're on. It's about about alignment at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the best example of that is when we got our first 42-ton electric, first one Renault ever put in the UK. I love our first.
Nice.
We decided to, and I didn't tell the insurers or my old man, we took it to Santa Pod and put it down the speedway.
Did you? Amazing.
It was a middle of last year.
So when you say 42 tons, sorry, can I just double check? Because I should know this, but is that a 2-axle tractor unit?
Yeah, so it's what everyone deems as a 40-ton.
Right. Okay,
so Europe only runs 40s.
Yeah.
Over here we run 6x2.
Yeah.
44
tonners,
3 axles.
Yeah.
You can't fit 3 axles and a load of batteries onto the same chassis.
Sure.
So
got you. So it's a 2-axle.
It's a 2-axle and it's a 40, but dispensation electric vehicles, because they're so heavy, the government said have an extra 2-ton.
Have an extra couple of ton. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because the axle weights can only take the same. So we can get into the whole that whole ball game of like it's 42 ton, but I can't get 42 ton on it because this axle is rated at 11.5 ton. That drive axle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that's why we have VOSA and the DVLA and the traffic commission to make sure everyone plays fairly.
Yeah.
So we took the truck to Santa Pod. And took some staff, took some other ones, took some diesels, took our 90th livery ones. It was a truck takeover at Santa Pod. They did the normal speedway going, but it was all about trucks. So it was great. No one, like you just said, Pete, it looks like a European 2-axle 40-ton Arctic unit. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't even realise that electric lorries on the road at the moment, including government. That's a different story. So we went to Santa Pod, big song and dance, took some staff, bit of PR, but mainly so we could drag race our electric 42 ton with one of our DAF XG 520s. For the audience, 520, in effect, 520 horsepower, big boy.
Yeah.
Not the biggest boy. It's not a V8 or V12 Scania, but they're all limited to 56 miles per hour anyway. So
Yeah, exactly.
apparently.
Right. Yeah. Yours are all limited to
Mine
56. Yours are all
I'm
limited
a
to
Vectoral
56.
operator.
Yeah. But there are some out there.
Yeah. So
You know the old favourite. While you guys run maintenance, the old favourite is to get them tacho calibrated on really, really like low millimetre tyres. Put a new set of tyres on, and off they go.
F1 style.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming back to the culture and the values in the Santa Pod event.
Yeah.
The drivers loved it. They loved having a crack at like just putting their foot down. You can do it. It's limited to 56, so it's a quarter mile. Like how far you get. We trounced everything. We literally trounced everything apart from one V8 Scania.
Yeah.
That somehow we topped out at 56 halfway down the track, and it managed to catch us up and go past us.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think we were playing to
Was
the
it
same
on
rules.
Irish plates?
I don't think we were playing to the same rules there. But again, no,
It wasn't one of yours though.
no,
the Scania?
no. So
right,
we raced each other. We raced our own,
Yeah.
and then we did half a dozen runs down there.
Yeah.
And also, it was quite, again, we're jumping over the place, but innovation, learning. We had one false start. We had one start where it had a bit of slippage, and the ECU kicked in, and it put it into limp mode. So the other driver shot off, and like this electric lorry was, and we had cameras all over it, and the driver's inside going, and you can see what he was saying.
Yeah.
But it was data, it was knowledge, it was understanding, it was fun.
Yeah.
Fun is one of our values.
Nice.
But anyway, coming back to the story, I'll get there in the end. We invited all the staff, as many wanted to go, pop in, see us, and we had a couple of my customer service ladies man our little stall, because people were coming up saying, I've just seen that's electric, and they're talking about it, engaging. We had a few partners there who do mobile charging, and made a song and dance about it all. I didn't make it because I was at a wedding. I came back in on the Monday, and I do the normal thing. I walk around the office and go and chat to people. I don't go outside if it's cold. And Lynn, my customer service supervisor at Cambridge, came up to me and said how amazing the weekend was. Thanks for the invite.
Nice.
But she then proceeded to recite our attitude towards decarbonisation. She, in effect, perfectly summed up my new culture and the values, telling me, she was like, I see why we're doing what we're doing, and I'll try not to get emotional. And she just kind of recited to me everything that I'd spent 4 years telling everyone, this is our new journey. And that to me was the point that I realised that it was there. It was, and at that point, again, values, alignment, embedding them. If your values are right, actually you don't have to work hard in embedding them, because they should be there already, or it's just tweaking what you're doing. Yeah. And then there is the practical stuff, like our PDR. We changed our PDR documents, we changed our induction, all the physical stuff, the formal stuff. We implemented, we kind of merged it in. The PDR asks you, as you expect, with those kind of things, like aligns the values. How good you are, you think, with the values. So there's the core / soft touch stuff that you would expect, but the crux of it is values should be your business. Yeah, it's always and that's why. Twice. Well, that's why we started the journey, the sustainability, the ESG, and then we did the values. It was all kind of happening together, and it was one big roadmap. And I kind of tried to explain that to my old man when I was telling him why I was spending tens of thousands of pounds every year on this kind of stuff. He was like, I don't see the point of it. The logo, we know what the colours are. I was like, yes, I know what the colours are, and I haven't lost the colours, and I know we've got to have that cream, and I know when we rebrand and livery all the vehicles, we've got to maintain that angled cream across the blue. So it looks the same. Like, you've been to our place, we've got our heritage vehicles, hence we're building the centre. And you can see the transition of over time. But I was like, you change the logo in the like the late 90s, you changed it slightly and put your bit on it.
Yeah, put your
And
mark
I've
on
put
it.
my bit on it. And again, it's this legacy kind of provides you the footprint and the rule book a little bit, and then it's the innovation stuff going forward that changes it. So again, that logo, and the reason it's the shape, and it's kind of a W but not a W, but it's also, again, as in marketing and bits and pieces, you have that iconography, don't you? You have that shape that's your shape
Yes.
that you can spin and twist and
people know
embed,
it's you.
and it's you.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is that not a W in your circle? I was like,
Yeah.
that's why.
This is why.
And that's the evolution. And that's sometimes people just think it's you're doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
But it looks nice, or it looks different. There should always be a reason for doing something.
I really value strong branding. I think it's really, really important. And I think that there is I think there is some people that, they'll look at branding and go, oh, that seems expensive. But I think it's like anything: buy cheap, buy twice.
Yeah.
And I think all of the very best brands are just so recognisable. And I think we live in a very busy environment when it comes to marketing. So you've got to have cut through. You said, so interestingly, when we were prepping, you said you had to become a father to the business rather than its operator. And I think we're sort of touching on this anyway. But this is about you transitioning, not just as an operator, but it was interesting. You said, I'll try not to get emotional when you talk about values, but it's almost like that sort of fatherhood figure within the business. Do you think many other business owners are getting that kind of thing wrong? Tell me about why you think a fatherhood role is good within the business.
It helps being a father, doesn't it? As you know, it gives you a new perspective on things. We were sitting here before we started and talking about kids and potentially not having any more, and looking at them thinking, I hope I've done this right, and B, you're the last one out of all of them that is going to be at this point in time. Mm-hmm. And that's quite a good segue into it, actually. It's all my stuff. It's a bit corny. Is it all my staff and my children? Even the older ones that are older than me. No, you want the best for your staff. The same as we talked about, that you want the best for your business. You want your best for your staff. You want your best for the local community. Because if any one of those things isn't right, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. People are the hardest factor in any business. Mm-hmm. And the reason other businesses and other services can scale and do scale so much is because they're not staff orientated. It's quite, drop shipping was a prime example, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Over COVID, like you could blow up doing that kind of thing and have a 3PL warehouse and just be you in your garage, or you and it's very hard to look after people and manage people. So that therefore needs to become your mantra and your main goal. Sure. And luckily, I take the most pleasure in seeing people develop. We have a massive apprenticeship program. Half of my technicians in my truck centre now are ex-apprentices because they train with us and then they stay with us. It helps that they're ridiculously paid. Most of them have got nicer cars than me because they still live with their parents and they're 21 and earning a good amount, a very good amount. Sure. But we have a one strike policy, so they can go away when they're young and establish that actually they should have stayed with us, and we'll let them back. And that's also sometimes nice to see. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
a one strike policy.
A one strike policy.
So they could go and come back once, but not a second time.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
because you don't want revolving doors, and the driver market is a prime. That used to happen, and you got yourself in and again, this comes into people management. You got yourself in a position when roles are a premium. Drivers, HGV technicians, right now, for a long time, you're like, well, let's just bend the rules a little bit. Yeah. And then someone sees it happening, and they're like, well, I've left once. Yeah. And I want to have another crack at going to work for Joe Bloggs down the road and get an extra £1. Yeah. And actually, I think Welch's might take me back because they're short on drivers. Yeah. Zero policy. Yeah. You are not coming back. And we remind them that the second time they try, they want to leave. They're like, we'll leave part on good terms, but
you're not coming back. Yeah.
You're not coming back because this isn't a revolving door operation. Coming back to the piece about looking after your staff. So that's the reason we don't use agency people. Okay. It's about the staff. Mm-hmm. It's about looking after them, and we've talked so much about it. I've forgotten your initial question.
It's okay. It was about being a father to the business.
Oh yeah. So we can't be a father to them, and from a transitional point of view, for me, leadership. Again, like I said, I was 8 years in there in the traffic offices, in the warehouses, doing it all. In effect, you would like to think that people in our position running a business or going to run a business should know it better than most people and have a better understanding of it. But then it's hard to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about my other peers in the industry and my opinions on where they're at, and it's very easy, especially in our world, because it's low margin. There's a lot of spinning plates.
Mm-hmm.
If you are the most level-headed person, the person that can make decisions that other people probably can't make because there's ramifications if it goes wrong, and people are risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
And also the person that can do a 20-hour day and come back again and not put a lawsuit in, you get stuck there, don't you?
Yeah.
So you have to become a father and step out of it and step above it and teach your staff, develop your staff, teach your children, develop your children, make them the best they can be. Let them have accidents, let them fall out the tree on the lowest branches, let them learn, and bite your lip.
Yeah.
Bite your lip a lot. There's HR processes and there isn't there, and there's one-to-ones and there's chats, shall we call them. But the crux of it is you need to step out of the way. You need to, if you want to grow your business, and it's again horses for courses. It depends what your business, how big your business is, what you're doing with it. Maybe you can sit there at that level if you're happy with what you're doing, or it's that kind of dynamic in your business. But I count ourselves as big. 170 people is a lot of people to look after. I can't manage 170 people.
100%, yeah.
4 people can't manage 170 people.
No.
So get out of their way, empower them, give them the tools, come back to innovation, come back to the systems, come back to. I will sit in my ivory tower again, in my nice glass office with an open door. Anyone can come and chat to me. But your line manager comes first. If you've got a problem, go to your line manager, then come to me. If you've got a problem with your line manager, come to me.
Sure.
And again, that's a multi-generational thing. When I started, my old man used to do all disciplinaries.
Really? Right, okay.
Dad loved my dad, and we'll come on to later. Most respected person my idol, all those things. But he did every disciplinary for every member of staff, and he would make the come in on Saturday morning, and then he would do it. It's a double deterrent, because I'm not going to pay you for that Saturday either. But
I love that.
It disenfranchised the management team. And what I saw when I took over is if someone didn't like what their manager told them, they would ring my dad, because the buck stopped with him.
Sure.
Because if they got into real trouble, they went to him. They didn't go to their manager, they went to him.
Yeah.
And it was those kind of little things, whilst I completely respect what he did, and everyone had a really good relationship with him because he was a disciplinarian. It was a bit of disciplinarian. That comes back to my childhood. But he's very black and white, very straightforward.
Yeah.
Say it how it is, and everyone respected him for him. And everyone respected him for doing those disciplinaries and looking everyone in the eye and telling them what they'd done wrong and telling them what they had to do to make it better. But it was detrimental in my head, and the way of working and the cultural changes, it was detrimental to the efficiency and strength of the operation, because people weren't key people weren't empowered.
Yes. Yeah, it makes total sense. Really good example, mate. I love
Thanks.
that. I love that. Hey, have a sip of water. I'll let you have water now. Awesome, mate. So I think you've already sort of really touched on the next question, so I'm gonna move on. So my next question was around that you really clearly care deeply about the people when we talk about apprenticeships and long service of staff and the community impact, building loyalty and trust, and improving on absenteeism. So I feel like you've really nailed that. So let's go back to the electrification side. There's a lot of noise around net zero, electrification, decarbonisation. What's the current misunderstanding about the reality of what's going on? What do people need to know? What's the general misunderstanding, do you think?
I think the first part is what we touched on earlier. It's happening. Like you can shy away from it. And again, operators, whether you lease vehicles, rent vehicles, HP them, buy them, they're long cycles. They're long asset cycles. You're talking 3, 5, 7 years when we talk about tractor units. So people think, well, that's not my problem. And for 3 years until that comes up for renewal, or 5 years when that comes up, or 7 years when that comes up for renewal, 2035 is deadline. So I can buy a load of diesels in 2034 and run them, and then I don't have to worry about it until 2050. So there's logic in there, there's business case in there. And to be honest, again, from an operator point of view, play my tiny violin, like low margins, we work to 1.5%, 2%.
Yeah.
So thinking about buying, and we buy, luckily, and we'll come on to that model, buying an electric Arctic for, let's say, £250,000 now, compared to a diesel variant at about £125 now.
Half the price, yeah.
Half the price. It's why would you? Why would you? And I completely understand why people aren't, and it's a struggle. So the misconception is it needs to run and it will work and it costs, and the TCO model is exactly the same as a diesel. That's the learning, that's the experience, that's the 5 years, it's everything else in that. So let's dive into that a little bit. So they're cheaper to run. We talked about diesel, the price of diesel, and the escalation.
Wild.
And as I've said to my peers over the last every day for the past 5 weeks, my electric has costed me the same today that it did 5 weeks ago that it did when I renewed it in February. So resilience, stability, key to a business, key to any long-standing business. You balance that. You do your whole kilowatt hour per kilometre versus, or per mile versus your MPH, miles per gallon. Sorry, MPG. It's already the right side, let alone when fuel prices are up here and electric's down there. So TCO modelling and repair and maintenance. Again, you know my world as well as I do. Being your past life with service contracts and bits and pieces. Our experience anyway, bulletproof.
Yeah.
Our oldest electric lorry is 3.5 years old now. I can count on one hand the amount of days it's been off the road.
Yeah.
And I've just literally had 2 diesel Arctics go down yesterday with clutches.
Yeah.
It's chalk and cheese, it's black and white. It helps from a business, strategic, leadership, risk point of view. I have my own truck centre, so I can take a risk because I can make sure it's sorted out quick.
Yeah.
Reliance is key. But they're cheaper to maintain. The 3 that I've just ordered that are just currently arriving, I still haven't signed the R&M agreements, and for everyone else, that's repair and maintenance. So you buy a new vehicle, release a new vehicle, and you get 3 to 5 years R&M. So every month you pay that.
Yeah, and that's a significant cost as well.
Yeah, it is.
For anyone listening who isn't in the industry, 6 weekly inspections. Things go wrong on them. They're high distance vehicles, so cost of maintenance is huge on certainly a combustion engine vehicle for sure. But you haven't got the oil, you haven't got any of the...
You've got like 10 moving parts compared to 200 or whatever the statistics are.
It's wild, isn't it? No AdBlue. And the other thing, AdBlue. So AdBlue is a massive challenge from a maintenance perspective, isn't it, right? So you're laughing, right? But like...
Call it its real name, that's what I'm laughing about. The pig wee.
The pig piss. But so AdBlue, pumps, nozzles, Jesus,
but even on that, we come back to the volatility of some things. AdBlue came in 5-10 years ago. All of a sudden it's in there. It's helping clean your exhaust. It's a thing. I didn't go to my customer and say I've now got an extra £5,000-10,000 worth of stuff on my vehicle that I've got to pay for, which is just rolled into the OEM's pricing. And then also I've got to keep filling up. It's not like a car that has AdBlue that you just fill it up on a service once a year and it uses like
minuscule.
Like a lorry goes through it.
My car 10,000 miles before it needed another top up of AdBlue. Wild, isn't it?
Exactly.
Whereas
but then
it literally drinks AdBlue, doesn't it as well?
And when it's not working, it drinks it, doesn't it? Like you AdBlue problems, as you said, AdBlue faults. But that's gone from 30p to 38p. Yeah. And that's not in a fuel surcharge mechanism. That's not in an escalator somewhere. It's a hidden cost that now is biting you. So sorry, electric vehicles, TCO modelling, it's correct. And we then have the additional factor, like I said, that we take the decision to buy it. So what was a 7-year, we run our Arctics for 7 years, keep it over 1 million clicks. That'd be 10 now. That'd be 12. You talk about data and learning and looking at other industries, but a lot of people don't realise that we've had electric buses on the road for over a decade now. Those first electric buses from 10 years ago are still operating today. still going, and they're similar. Some of them are similar duty cycles to what we do in the haulage world.
Sure.
Day one, single cycle,
Yep.
around the local urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
So we're extending the life of our vehicles because I know they're going to last.
Mm-hmm.
And if the IAMs are giving me a 6 or 8 battery life warranty, because again, that's a big thing with the car world and all the rest of it, if they're going to give me 6 years, they know it's good for 8. They know it might be good for 10 because they're not going to undersell themselves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So again, you come into that whole piece. So it's knowledge. So cheaper to run. People, again, kind of that thing about what people don't know or why they might not doing it. Strategy, forward thinking. And it's all those key little bits: maintenance, cost of electric, cost of charging, infrastructure. We'll talk about what it's done from a sales point of view and an image point of view in a little while, but I summarise it in: we have never been able to control the price of diesel. 30% of cost base, fuel. The cost
Totally
of
out of
making
your
us
control.
move.
Yeah.
Totally out of control. You can hedge it. That's a risky business, even hedging.
Yeah.
Spot hire, just buy it when you can, have a load of tanks on site. What we do, buy it when you get a best price, and then you have a fuel surcharge mechanism, so it kind of balances out. Electric, the first fuel source in 100 years, the only different fuel source in 100 years, apart from hydrogen, that you can control. And what I mean by that is a lot of people now have Octopus at home. A lot of people have solar panels. A lot of people have electric cars. A lot of people have home batteries now.
Yeah.
You can become energy positive in your home environment, what we refer to as a microgrid.
Yeah.
And you can tell your car to only charge when it's coming straight off the roof.
Yeah.
The roof will fill up your battery in your house, and you can tell your house only to operate in certain times of the day to use your battery. Octopus have lower tariffs at night, as we all know, for charging your car or filling your battery. And that works when you electrify a haulage depot on a scale that is incomprehensible.
Yeah.
So your house, I think, runs off an average between 10 and 15 kilowatts a day. That's why batteries are the size they are, to give you a day or two redundancy or fill up. When our whole Cambridge depot is electrified and every vehicle there is electric, I will have 45, at current standings, I will have 45 megawatts of electric stored in that depot.
Got you.
That is the biggest opportunity in our industry ever.
Yeah.
Because I can charge my vehicles from the sun. You double down on PV, maybe a bit of a battery, or what's coming, they refer to it as V2X, vehicle to X, anything, or V2G, vehicle to grid. You have all your lorries plugged up, some manner in your yard. Sun's shining on a Saturday. And you have the data, you have the systems.
Sure.
You're not pulling energy from the grid. You're pulling it from your solar.
Nice.
Free fuel, free diesel.
Yeah.
We all know there's feed-in tariffs. We've all had them. A lot of us have got solar. We get 2p a kilowatt to give it back to the grid. And the providers are then up in their game. So there's a lot of new energy providers that will give you half an hourly adaptive tariffs.
Yeah.
They're like at home. So exactly what Octopus do. Like the reason Octopus email you and tell you that at 6 o'clock this evening you get free energy. On the continent, you get paid to take electric. It's so understood and managed. But the same can be said for your business. And these energy providers are cottoning on to the fact that you've got 45 megawatts is the kind of thing that the government installed to load balance a region. 45 megawatts is more than the village that we grew up in.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And the icing on the cake being 6 times a year, the grid currently has to turn on a power plant because of what we all do as consumers. King's coronation or the King's speech or EastEnders final and you're going to turn the kettle on, World Cup, all those kind of things. There's 5 big things that make us turn power plants on, which is ridiculous. Yeah. But completely non-factual, but it is a bit true. They will pay you £10,000 per megawatt if you can give it back to the grid.
Yeah. Okay.
In those instances and those little opportunities, not aggregating the whole rest of the year, those little opportunities, I could make more on a Sunday discharging my lorries and taking the hit on Monday, but we're charging back up overnight. I can make more in that one moment than I probably could the rest of the year.
Wow. Okay.
And it's those kind of insights. It's don't to look at it as electric lorry that can't do the miles and can't carry the weight.
Yeah.
Look at what it does to your business.
Yeah.
Look at what it means for your business in the future. And then again, we're talking a minute like the growth that we've seen because of what we're doing is.
Tell us about that, because you mentioned sort of the sales growth. So is that just around the PR side, around people wanting to work with you because you're electrifying?
It's because it's a lovely face.
They just want to deal with Chris.
It's just Chris. And I suppose that's leadership. Part of it comes back to running your own business, running your family business, being the face of it. Don't go and hide.
Yeah.
The other thing you said about my peers and all the bits and pieces I do and chatting to you now, Bud, is you've got to be the face of it. You've got to lead from the front. If you're not in the trenches loading that vehicle or planning that vehicle, do what you need to do to drive the rest of it,
be
or to show it, kiss some babies, shake some hands. Anyway, coming back to what's happened. So it's been this journey, five years, electrification, decarbonisation, making it our thing. 2 years in, we realised it was our thing. And again, branding, culture, internal and external factors, we are now seen, I think, and I'm being told we are the go-to house. We are the lighthouse and the flagship for decarbonisation in the industry, let alone the SME space, for the industry.
Sure.
Like Maritime, Tesco's, DHL, all ringing me, big-headed, to talk to me about how we're doing what we're doing, let alone on their scale. And the customers see it and understand it and know it as well. And again, it's all packaged up in all the things we've spoken about, isn't it? The rebrand, the communication, the culture, the values, and you've got to get your house right inside before you can do stuff outside. Mm-hmm. Like I spent those 8 years around the business, changing the systems, changing the processes, getting the right people, knowing we need more people, employing a lot of people. Like Dad's horrified. Like I probably have twice as many staff in an office-based environment that he did when I started. Mm-hmm. Far too many people. Because again, legacy dictates that overhead, people are your biggest overhead.
Yes.
No, inefficiency is your biggest overhead. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, whilst having these conversations with our peers and learning to them, our customers cotton onto it, and you do share. You came, didn't we? Had our first net zero open day.
It was amazing. Yeah.
That was 4 years ago, I reckon. 4 years ago.
Crazy.
Customers came, peers came, service providers came, and that's when the customers started to take note. Mm-hmm. And it starts the little things like, here's your CO2 reports. We understand data. We've got good systems. Here's a CO2 report. This is what you're doing. They didn't ask for it. We gave it to them. Sure. I've got an electric lorry. You could use it. You got to pay premium 3 years ago, but we've got one. Do you want to do it? Do you want to do a little bit of PR? Like most of our customers have done, like paid quite a premium to do half a load to Birmingham, and for us to do interviews at the front end, interviews at the end. I'll say something, we get the drone up, and they go, look at us, we're a service provider that can provide the future. Yes. And we term it all the future of freight. Yeah. So what then happened, and last year was when it really kicked off. Well, probably a year before, because these kind of tenders take a good old chunk of time to go from start to finish. You've got to do their due diligence. You've got to at least compete with other people, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
From a statistical point of view and from a numbers point of view, so COVID was previous to last year. COVID was our best year. COVID was good for all operators because supply and demand was doing this. Not enough staff, not enough lorries, not enough drivers. Name your price. Mm-hmm. Double-digit increases for staff pay as well, which is great. Mm-hmm. But it got the industry back up on a level footing. We all made hay where the sun shined, and then it came back to undercutting each other and too many operators. The usual bullshit. Because of that demand, because of that supply and demand piece, a lot of new operators came onto the scene. Again, made hay where the sun shine, delivered a lot, installed a lot of PPE. And then it all started to disappear. It all started to go back to normal. So now you've got too much supply. And then undercutting, and as we know, you look at the statistics, licenses, people going into liquidation left, right and centre, but not, and a few established ones as well. But and then since then we've been up a couple of points, down a couple of points. Normal business is normal.
Yeah.
Last year we grew nearly 15%.
Wow.
This year we are already on track to grow 15% and probably do more.
Yeah.
So we're going to go from a £15 million business to beginning of the year before last to by the end of this year probably going to hit 20.
Wow.
In a business where we buy everything, so I can't just switch on a new depot and I can't just buy a load of more lorries because I've got cash flow cycles. My old man's a chartered accountant. I only get certain amount of pocket money per year.
Windows.
This is what I can spend. I can spend it all at the beginning. Well, I can nearly spend it at the beginning of the year, but I can't do anything else the rest of the year.
Sure.
But that came from this journey. And I used to debate whether it did or not, and whether it's other stuff we were doing. But no, it came from this journey. It came from our attitude. It came from our innovation. It came from our connections. Last year, we put on £3 million worth of new business across the year. So it hasn't always all translated yet in those numbers I cited, but half of it was existing customers.
Wow.
Extending contracts and doubling that, literally doubling down. Our biggest customer went from a £2 million account to a £4 million account.
Wow, that's impressive.
And they came to us, and it was a tender process. They came to us and in effect said, "We like what you're doing. We can see the direction of travel." They're a big manufacturer, big construction. They understand net zero. They understand decarbonisation. They understand getting carbon out of their supply chain. And they're like, how do we make it work?
Sure.
And then I had another tier one, another build construction. And again, it's interesting. Construction is the hardest one to do because of the weight. Like they move everything to 28 tons.
Yeah.
Trying to decarbonise that on an electric vehicle is
crazy.
Impossible, I suppose. But but what it has done is it's brought when things are going rosy, as everyone in business knows, no one wants to talk about anything.
Yes.
Because we're making money, we're all happy.
Everyone,
Why do we want to look at it? Let's not give ourselves extra work.
Don't
when
be
it's
negative.
hard, people want to talk.
Yes.
When things are coming, when legislation's coming, people want to talk and understand it. Yeah. And COVID proved that to everyone with the whole supply chain shut down just in time, being a load of rubbish, warehousing bursting. Yeah. Like everyone understands that supply chain is actually a bit important now.
Yes.
And they did value the delivery, as we term it.
Yeah.
They're coming to us. We went into this tender with the second one of our probably back then our fifth biggest customer, and we literally started on the new contract on Monday. Took 14 months to get through it. Went through it. We were too expensive. In effect, thought we'd lost it. They did tell us we had lost it, and we were anticipating 3 months later at our notice to lose it. Got halfway through that notice period, and they rang me up and went, "We've just been told by your traffic office to our planners that you're reducing the fleet size for us down to your contracted amount because you've lost the tender." And like, yes. Yeah. Like, well, we haven't told you lost the tender. I was like, well, you did. But anyway, if you're telling me something different now, I'll talk to you. Yeah. Came back around, got them in, showed them some electric lorries. Everyone loves the electric lorries. Showed the new brochure, showed the new branding, showed the office walls, all the stuff.
All the investment.
Talked around the people, all my lovely smiley people, and presented them with a new way of running their supply chain. Not contractor logistics, not take 10 vehicles and you run them and plan them and open book 2%.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's, harder for us, shared user, groupage, full loads, pallet networks. I'll get it out of your factory. I'll reduce your lead times from 10 days to 3.
Yeah.
5 I went with, to give myself a little bit. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And they're like, we didn't even realise it was an option. We've been doing contract dedicated logistics for, they're a 100-year-old construction company as well. And they only ever use tier ones. We've been in there for 15 years managing one of their depots. They've got like 6 in the UK.
Sure.
So sites. And now they're seriously considering, well, actually, when XPO comes up for renewal in Bristol, we at least need to look at how Welch's do it, let alone ask Welch's to do it for us. But they've gone from a £750,000 customer to nearly a £2 million customer.
Excellent.
And then we won, and then like say the external ones, the new ones, you come up for tenders come up in the local area. So, business is a lot of its chance.
Yes.
I was lucky that I was offered a job by Dad, that I became MD, that we turned 90, and the government announced that they were decarbonising the country. Mm-hmm. If the decarbonisation thing hadn't been announced by the government and wasn't legislated and wasn't on the cards, I wouldn't be sitting here today probably. And we wouldn't have seen 50% growth last year. We would still be playing that 1-2%, and I'll be still scratching my head about what I do. What on earth do I do with a haulage firm to make it work? Yeah, because it's hard.
Yes.
So I hung my hat on it, and it's working. And now it's snowballing. You get into that scenario, don't you, where things snowball. I mean, we had a tender come on literally 2 months ago. One of the buyers or one of the higher ups in the business had heard of us, and this is a tier 1 consumable item brand. Someone higher up had seen like one of my talks or talking about decarbonisation, or me kissing those babies' heads and shaking those hands, and they'd in effect shut the tender, and he looked through the applicants and said, well, Welch's they're 50 miles on the road, which is a bit further away from a haulage operation, but he said they're 50 miles around the way, email them and see if they want to talk to us about this and be entered into this tender. Bit naughty. And we did, and we turned it around in 48 hours, full £1.5 million tender. Yeah. Because again, systems, people, being able to react, me in my ivory tower, being able to give it the time that I need and not still be able to go and see my kids. Yeah. Got down to the last 4, most expensive, because we're 50 miles away. Shared user, could be one pallet coming out, could be a full load coming out, and everything in between. It's 5-6 loads a day. Most expensive out of 4. They did a round robin of the 4 last, came and saw us. I wasn't even involved in this one because again, I'm getting to that point. I've won a new business. You show me that you can win some new business.
Yeah, of course.
I've got a great head of commercial and a great team that support him at the end of the day. As we say, we parachute Chris Welch in now. If something's going wrong, or if we need to again kiss some babies and shake some hands,
wheel you out. Yeah.
Got rung on Friday. It's still the most expensive, but you don't have to last 2, because their words, my head of sales, Matt, wowed their in effect global procurement manager, because the brand that it is, you go to their website, NDA, can't say it is. Why there's 3 tabs across the top of their global website? Sustainability, and they're like. I also think there's a bit of this piece, isn't it, where people we talked about incumbents and business models and how you provide a service and how you price it. I think in a lot of instances, people don't know there's any, like that construction customer, people don't know there's anything better out there that can be done a different way. Sure. I think we might be most expensive in the tender. Yeah. I think we're still cheaper than the current incumbent.
Yes.
Because I've seen the 2P list.
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, it has to from a legal standpoint. But yeah, they're like, we're a big organisation. This is happening. We've reduced we talk about scope 1, 2s and 3s, don't we? 1's input, 2's what you do on your site, 3's onward. Yeah. Very, very crudely. So 1, sort out where you get your material from and how it's given to you. 2, put some LED lights in and some PV. Yeah. Tell your staff to cycle to work. Yep. And 3 is your supply chain. Most things are moved. Yep. Warehouse, boat, train, air. Yep. How do you reduce that? And it's always the biggest one, the biggest CO2 producer. Yeah. People know that. People have spent the last 10 years, like people have had PV for 15 years at home, and businesses have it. We've had a lot of grants 5 years ago for green schemes, electric cars, PV, lights, business grants for decarbonising, better electric, all that kind of stuff. People are now on their scope 3s. So again, luck. It's aligned perfectly. But
smashed out.
The customers there, and I'm going to go and see that customer on Thursday and do the parachuting Chris Welch piece tomorrow.
Nice.
And I'm worried now that we're going to win it because it's getting a bit crazy. And we're putting those 30 containers in 1 week scenario. Like we've gone way beyond that. And then again, leadership. How do I balance, keep everyone calm, level-headed, but let them do it. Don't let the house of cards collapse, implode, but still keep the momentum.
Sure.
You look again, haulage, supply chain in COVID, really good time. I had to get rid of key customers in COVID because we couldn't cope. We got to that point. 2 years, 18 months later, 12 months later, it had all gone back down the pan. And you're like, why did I not just hold my nerve or talk to them more or do something differently that maintained that volume, that guaranteed volume, to now we're in the poo-poo.
Sure.
And we're kind of at the other side. And I've learned, again, it's learning, it's leadership, it's
Developing
reflection.
as you go. Yeah.
So what do we do differently now to not have to get to that scenario? We are getting close to that scenario. And this next one, if we were lucky enough to get it, might be the final hat that you put on your buckaroo donkey before it bucks. But how do we make sure it's not?
Yeah.
So like I say, spinning plates, balance.
Yeah. Finding that balance, mate.
But people, like, you push them too hard, you make them break. Absenteeism and illness is the most detrimental thing to a business.
Yep.
Be it a manager or be it a lorry driver in my instance, be it a yard person.
Yeah.
That one little
Huge
variable
impact
that's
on
out,
profitability.
massive impact.
Awesome.
Comes back to people, comes back to leadership.
Mate, that's absolutely fantastic. That was a really detailed answer. Thank you. I'm going to move on to, you've done a fantastic job, so I'm going to move on to my 5 quick fire questions. How does that sound? You wet your whistle, and these are the 5 quick fire questions that I haven't prepared you for.
Nice.
So apologies, but literally first thing comes into your head, let's go with it. So question 1, how do you develop yourself?
I talk to my staff. I think I'm at that point in my life where I've nearly learned as much as I can fit in my head. I develop myself by leeching off my senior management team. I'm surrounded by people that hopefully in their chosen field know more than I do now.
Yep,
so I develop myself by inadvertently, indirectly leeching off them.
Nice.
But also at the same time, tech at the moment, AI, tech,
Yep.
like I'm data geeky, process driven. I develop myself through how can I sit at home in the evenings while my wife, who's a teacher, marks, and I play on Claude. I build things and process things and do reports and get it to orchestrate things so I can go back to business and go,
this is where we're at. Yeah.
That's the big thing at the moment.
Cool.
As we all know.
3 tips for success. Quick fire tips. 3.
Quick fire tips. Find good people.
Yep.
And invest in them.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to try something new.
Nice.
And when you do try something new, don't beat yourself up if it didn't work.
Nice. So don't give up if there's a bit of failure. Find good people. Don't be afraid to try something new.
Keep going.
Love it. 3rd one, advice for your younger self as you were kicking a football in a cul-de-sac.
Make sure you
don't speak to that Pete Rushmore.
Keep in contact with that Pete. I don't know. Quick fire. Just keep going. Again, it's that pay. Don't be. I've now learned. Actually, no. Advice to my younger self. Everyone's human.
Mm-hmm.
That piece about sitting in a room. I talk to government now. I talk to all these people that are people.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I would tell my younger self is people is people. That first time that I stood up in an auditorium whilst I was at university talking about my placement in front of 300 people and shat myself.
Yeah.
I stood up last year and talked in front of 1,500.
Yep.
Actually, you get, and also you tell your younger self, when you get to a big room, you can't see everyone. Like you're only ever talking to 200 people.
You can only see a couple hundred people. Exactly.
So yeah, people are people.
Yeah.
And they only want to talk to you because you've got something worthy to say. Really, like don't. I learned again. I didn't prep for our talk today, and this is not a quick fire answer, but people are in. If you're engaging with the higher people, the people that aren't that higher than you, people are listening to you. Then you've got something worth to say. Mm-hmm. You don't need to go home and revise what you think they want to hear.
Sure.
Say it from the heart. Say what you know. Say if you don't know it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Love that. 4th one. What sacrifices have you made?
Working for a family business? None. There's no sacrifices that I've made that I would deem to be a sacrifice looking back on them.
Nice. Good. There have been sacrifices, but
there
none. It's about the view you have on them. Like it.
Yeah.
Final question. Discipline or motivation, which is more important and why?
Motivation. Because again, it's that piece about getting back up.
Yep.
Discipline is needed. You need structure, but it's about motivation. It's about try it, do it, try it, get back up if it fails.
Nice.
Just keep going. Motivate them. Like everyone is never. There's a saying, isn't it? Everyone's not 100% every day.
Yep.
In your office or in your team or you and your partner, you and your kids. Kids are never always 100% or 150 or 20. But it's that piece, isn't it? It's about motivation. It's the fact that I want to instill culture, values, a place to work where people respect and work with each other. If they come in and there's the times when people have family grievances and all sorts of stuff going on, which part of it is making sure they tell you or at least convey that they're not in the right headspace.
Sure.
It's the motivation that we all provide each other to then pick up that slack.
Yeah.
I'm going to be down next week or something's going to happen and I want you to repay the favour.
Sure.
But we've got to motivate each other. We've got to, it's through positivity, not negativity. Look at that.
On that bombshell. Chris, you've been a fantastic guest for the
Thanks,
podcast.
mate.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed our chat. Thank you. I hope the listeners have enjoyed. You, the listeners, if you have enjoyed it, please do. What I'm most keen for is making sure that you subscribe or follow the podcast. And if you are willing to, because Chris has been such a fantastic guest, mention his name in a review. A 5-star review is absolutely amazing for us on the podcast because what it does is it shows it to more people and we start to reach outside of our existing network, which is what this is all about, growing and improving and developing the voices that we have. So thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. See you soon.
Thank you for joining us on today's It's Not So Lonely at the Top podcast. We really hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I'm absolutely delighted that you took the time to listen, and I really hope that you'll subscribe to ensure that you receive future episodes too. If you want to find out any more, please do search It's Not So Lonely at the Top podcast, and you'll find it on your favourite podcast app. Thank you.